Hello, I'm Dr. Ron England, and this is Beginner's Java Part 3. Yes, the third video of getting you up to speed and running in Java. Okay, so if you've been playing with NetBeans, you've probably figured out that you've got this capability of going up here and saying, I want to create a new package or new project. File, new project. Okay, and then you create this new project, and the project is created. You've got this ability to right-click and say New, and there's this thing Java class. And when you say Java class, it's going to come down here, and it's going to create all these new files underneath the project, because each file is a different class. Well, what's a class? Well, I got a great example to describe to you what a class is, and we're going to also learn a little bit about the concept of abstract classes and also the concept of inheritance. So let's first start with this concept of a class. Now, I'm going to use the example of a car. I can define this thing called a car, and a car, in this case, because we're in Java programming language, is going to be a class. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is this thing called an abstract class. Abstraction. Abstraction is taking a concept of something and boiling it down to its basic gut pieces. Okay, we call it abstraction, and an abstract class is a class that is just that. Public abstract class car. Now, thing that we're going to do here, and I'm not going to go through all the things that cars have, like steering wheels and windshields and blah, 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 blah. We're just going to do two things. Cars have a manufacturer and they have a model. So here we are. We've made a public abstract class car, okay, and we've actually created, we've got it here, wrappered up in here, begin, close. And I've made a constructor called car. Well, there's nothing in it because, one, this is an abstract class. This is, by the way, is a constructor. It is a special method of the class that lets you build the class. Duh. Okay, there it is. Now, we have two properties. As you should recall, classes have two things, methods and properties. Classes have two things. What are they? Methods and properties. So here's a property, protected string manufacturer. Okay, I say it's protected. Okay, string is what it is, and the name of it is a manufacturer. Remember in Java, you first say what type of thing you're gonna make, and then the name of what you're gonna make. I've also got some methods. Public abstract void set manufacturer. Okay, public means it's accessible from the outside. Abstract means it doesn't exist. Void means it returns nothing. Set manufacturer is the name, and it's going to be passed a string. I also have public abstract string get manufacturer. This, by the way, is public because it's accessible from the outside, abstract because it doesn't exist, string because it returns a string, and get manufacturer is the name. Same exact thing with model. This is just a good methodology for you to build properties. You should have, these are called get sets. And when you make a property, you should do a get and a set for each of the individual properties. So I have manufacturer, I have model, but notice these methods don't do anything. Well, they don't do anything because they are abstract. Okay, now they're abstract in that you can't actually do anything with them until you instantiate a class that extends car, and then you have to implement them. You have no choice because they're abstract. Abstract says you got to have it, but it doesn't. In this case, it doesn't do anything. So let's look at this concept of making something that inherits from car. Okay, a Dodge Charger. So let's make a Dodge Charger. Okay, so now I'm in my package car abstract, and now I'm going to make public class Dodge Charger. It extends car. It's going to go beyond car. Now, car, as you recall, had two properties, and it had four abstracted methods: set manufacturer, get manufacturer, set model, and get model. However, they were abstract, meaning that they don't do anything. You have no choice. You must override them. You must actually make versions of those in the actual class that extends the car class. Basically, the class that inherits from car. We call this inheritance. Okay, so I have, by the way, Dodge Charger, which is the constructor, which is the default method that lets you build the car, and I then use set manufacturer and set model. Well, the thing is that set manufacturer and set model, because they're abstract in the superclass, or the class that you're inheriting from called car, they don't do anything. So you've got to make a version here inside of the Dodge Charger, which is what I did here. I have this little keyword at override, and I do get model where it actually returns the model. Okay, but remember, those properties aren't here in Dodge Charger. It got them from car. It inherited them from car. It did not, however, it inherited the necessity to implement getModel because I had declared getModel in car as abstract. I have to make an overriding method for that, and I had to do it for all four because I declared all four. And then I made this public toString here where it just returns the getManufacturer and returns the getModel. Okay. Let's go over here and actually let's run it, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. When I'm running it, this is by the way, car abstract is the main where the main is located. I'm going to print out creating Dodge Charger from abstract car. I'm going to instantiate a new Dodge Charger. Dodge Charger is the name of the class that's the type of class that I'm making. My car is the name of the car, and it's going to be made with the constructor new Dodge Charger. And then I'm going to print out the my car toString, which by the way you saw was it prints out the getManufacturer and getModel. So let's do this. Booyah! Here it goes. Creating Dodge Charger from abstract car, constructing car, Dodge Charger, and that's what it does. Now you're probably thinking, wow, that was a lot of work. Every time I make a new type of car like a Toyota Tundra or maybe a Ford F-150, I've got to re-implement all of these methods from car. I've got to redo them all. And if there were two of them, okay, that's four that I got to do there. I mean, I got four methods and I got to do four overrides. That's a lot of work. Well, that's because car is abstract. Okay, we can make a class that we can inherit from that is not abstract. Okay, now there are situations where you do want to make an abstract class where you're going to force the person who's inheriting from that class to implement certain methods. Okay, abstract class does that. By the way, there's another way to do this. It's called an interface. That's beyond what we're doing here today. Concept. We've got a class called a car. Okay, the car has two properties, manufacturer and model. It has four methods, set manufacturer, get manufacturer, set model, get model. We have a Dodge Charger. It actually inherits, extends car. So it has everything that's in cars built into this. However, because car was abstract, it made you override those four methods that back in the abstract class did nothing. So what's another way to do this? Let's come down here to car.java. This time is in my inherit. This is a second version of the same thing. Okay, take what you just saw and realize this is not the same one. This is a totally separate package, okay, a totally separate project. In this case, my class, my car class, is not. It is not abstract. So, since it's not abstract, I can still do, okay, I still got manufacturer, okay, and this time I'm actually going to implement the set manufacturer and the get manufacturer in car, okay, in the class that I'm going to inherit from. Okay, so there's my manufacturer, there's my get, there's my set. Okay, I'm also going to do the exact same thing with the model. Okay, set model and get model. And I'm going to also implement the toString in the base class in car. Okay, so toString, get manufacturer, get model. Okay, returns are basically the string right here. Okay, that's going to be toString. Now, in my version where car is not abstract, I can now still create a Dodge Charger class. Public class Dodge Charger extends car. I have my constructor method. Remember, properties methods. This is a special method. It's called the constructor because it has the same name as the class. Okay, special method, same name as class. Special method, same name as class. Special method, same name as class. This time I'm going to print out constructing car. Okay, and I'll actually say using inheritance. Because I'm going to inherit everything that was in car, I'm going to inherit in Dodge Charger. I'm going to head in my constructor. I'm going to set the manufacturer to Dodge. I'm going to set the model to Charger. Okay, now I've got Dodge Charger. Notice Dodge Charger is much, much smaller because all of the work was being done in car. Okay, now let's go to the void main where I'm going to do this. I'm creating a Dodge Charger from the inherited class. Okay, I create a Dodge Charger. First, what am I going to make? Second, what is the name I'm going to make? And in the case of making a Dodge Charger, I want to call the constructor to build the Dodge Charger. And remember, in the constructor, we actually set the make and the manufacturer. And then I'm going to print out the my car to string. Okay, if I run this one, there it is, creating Dodge Charger from inherited class, constructing car using inheritance, woohoo! And there it is, the name of it, Dodge Charger. So, what have you learned here today? First, how to create a class. Okay, concept. Now, how to create an abstract class. And abstract classes do have uses because they force somebody who is inheriting that from that abstract class to implement specific methods when you want them to do so. I also did one that I implemented all of the work in the base class. Then I also created a class that inherited from the base class. Woohoo! So I can actually inherit all the properties. Now, what does this mean to you as a programmer? It means that inheritance is insanely, awesomely good because now you can do a ton of work in a base class and then inherit all of that capability in a class that is a specialized version of that base class, or what we call sometimes the parent, or what we sometimes call the super. Okay, whoa. That gives you a ton of power because when you want to do a lot of cool things, you don't have to write all that code to do it. So this could be incredibly useful to you. You've learned classes, abstract, and inheritance, and how to extend a class. Hopefully this will lead you to some incredibly good programming. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll continue, since people are really enjoying my Java series, I will continue to make more.